Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into a landmark talk by Andrej Karpathy at AI Ascent 2026. Karpathy, a co-founder of OpenAI and former head of AI at Tesla, recently made a startling admission. Despite his deep expertise, he's never felt more behind as a programmer. Let's explore why he believes we're moving from the era of vibe coding to a more rigorous discipline called Agentic Engineering. That feeling of being behind hit Karpathy in late 2024. He noticed a fundamental shift in AI coding tools. Before, they were helpful for small chunks but often required manual correction. In December, he realized that for the first time, these tools were producing coherent, working workflows consistently. He describes falling into a rabbit hole where side projects multiplied because the friction of implementation effectively disappeared. The bottleneck shifted from the act of coding to the management of intent. To understand this shift, Karpathy introduces Software 3.0. If Software 1.0 was explicit rules written by humans, and Software 2.0 was neural networks trained on data, Software 3.0 is the LLM acting as a programmable computer. In this paradigm, the context window is the primary lever. You aren't writing logic, you're providing context and constraints to a stochastic interpreter that carries out the computation for you. Take a simple task like installing software. In the old world, we wrote complex, brittle bash scripts to handle every possible OS and edge case. In the Software 3.0 world, we provide a skill, a piece of text, to an agent. The agent uses its own intelligence to observe the environment, handle errors, and debug in the loop. It's much more powerful because you don't have to precisely spell out every detail. You leverage the agent's general reasoning. Karpathy shares a personal example, his app, MenuGen. He spent time vibe coding a tool to OCR menus and generate images of food. Then he saw a Software 3.0 version, simply giving a photo to Gemini and asking it to overlay images onto the menu. He realized his entire app was spurious. Many applications today exist only because we're stuck in the old paradigm. In the future, many of these intermediaries will dissolve into raw neural network inputs and outputs. Looking toward 2026, Karpathy sees the roles reversing. Instead of running neural networks inside traditional host processes, the neural network itself becomes the host. Traditional CPUs become coprocessors for deterministic tasks. We might see diffusion-rendered UIs, where the interface isn't coded at all, but generated uniquely in the moment for the user's specific intent. A key framework for understanding AI progress is verifiability. AI automates domains faster when the output can be easily verified. This is why coding and mathematics are moving at light speed. The compiler or the proof checker provides a perfect reward signal for reinforcement learning. Domains that are subjective, like aesthetics or human values, progress much more slowly because the feedback loop is softer. This creates the paradox of jagged intelligence. Karpathy notes that a model might refactor 100,000 lines of code or find complex security vulnerabilities, yet hilariously tells you to walk to a car wash just because it's 50 meters away, forgetting that you actually need to drive the car there to get it washed. This jaggedness is a byproduct of how models are trained. They peak where the data is verifiable and where labs focus their RL efforts. It means we must stay in the loop and treat them as tools rather than all-knowing entities. For founders today, the advice is clear. Don't just use LLMs out of the box. The real advantage lies in identifying verifiable domains and building your own reinforcement learning environments. If you can create a diverse dataset and a high-quality verification signal, you can pull the lever of fine-tuning to create capabilities that standard models simply don't have. Karpathy makes a sharp distinction between vibe coding and agentic engineering. Vibe coding is about raising the floor, making software creation accessible to everyone through natural language. Agentic engineering, however, is about maintaining the professional ceiling. It's the discipline of coordinating stochastic, jagged agents to build software that is just as secure and maintainable as what we had before, but built much faster. The legendary 10x engineer is now being redefined. Karpathy believes the speed up from mastering agentic tools is far greater than 10x. This requires a shift in how we hire and work. Instead of solving puzzles, engineers must be able to direct agents through massive projects, focusing on implementation, security, and deployment rather than syntax. As agents handle the fill-in-the-blanks work, the human role shifts toward aesthetics, judgment, and taste. Agents still make silly mistakes, like trying to correlate users by email addresses that might not match. Humans must remain in charge of the high-level spec and the architecture. We can offload the recall of API details, but we must retain the fundamental understanding of how the system works. A powerful metaphor Karpathy uses is summoning ghosts. We aren't building biological animals with curiosity and intrinsic motivation. We are building statistical simulation circuits. These ghosts don't have a self that cares about the task. Understanding this helps us be more competent at directing them, knowing that their performance is entirely dependent on the data distribution and the reward functions we provide. One of Karpathy's biggest pet peeves is human-native infrastructure. Documentation, settings menus, and DNS configurations are all designed for humans. He envisions an agent-native world, where services are designed first for machine legibility. The goal is a world where you give a prompt to an agent, and the infrastructure handles the deployment and management without a human ever having to click through a dashboard. We'll close with the quote that Karpathy keeps coming back to. You can outsource your thinking, but you can't outsource your understanding. LLMs are incredible tools for processing information and generating synthetic insights, but the human remains the uniquely responsible director. As AI gets cheaper, the value of human taste and fundamental understanding will only continue to rise. Thank you for watching.